Hello.
Hello, everybody.
Tuesday? It's Tuesday. I know what day it is this week.
Right. It's
So
the
we're
only
ahead.
day. It's the only day we ever know what day it is in
Yeah.
the week.
It's Tuesday. We're getting better.
We have
We're
tea
getting
on
better.
Tuesdays.
Oh, we do have tea.
Yes, we do.
Welcome.
In case any of you don't know, I'm Brandy. This is Shannon.
Oh,
and
thanks. Who are we?
Together we're the Thriving Relationship. So, just in case this is your first time hanging out with us, now you know who we are.
Sounds good. Now you know.
Yeah.
Announcements. It's a month. Do you realize we go to Sun Valley in a month from? Isn't tomorrow the 17th? So it's in a month. Tomorrow.
Yeah.
I can do math this week. Are you
I'm
impressed?
going to start figuring out what I'm going to wear.
Yes. So
I hope we have weather like
the
we did last
resort
year.
has still given us like the green light on
To
adding.
sign, to add people.
So we still have 3 more rooms
Mhm.
available, the King Suite. So please join us. We'd love. And if not, we'll have pictures. You can
Yes,
see.
you'll see what you might have missed.
So sign up at the website, and the link is in whatever
The description.
section.
I think it's the description of this video. I think.
And this week's theme is the land of the little people.
Yeah.
It is. We're
Oh.
focusing on.
So pause. If you don't have little people yet, you should go away. Don't watch the rest of this. It will not.
Right.
Oh the God.
Like,
No, I'm kidding. Kind of kidding. There's a little truth in it.
Preparation is good.
Yes.
Preparation
Yeah.
is good.
Yeah. Dive in with both feet. Really know what you're going into.
Yeah.
Right?
Even though you just never until you're there.
Yeah, I mean, you can only be so prepared, and then the rest of it's just like you white knuckle it.
Mhm. Yeah, so inspiration from this week is I've been able to work a lot lately with people with about, infants to about 3-year-olds, and sometimes they get to come play, which I really enjoy, and especially get to hold the babies. But I've been realizing how quickly I've forgotten how hard that
Mhm.
stage is. So mine are 15, 13, and 9, soon to be 15.
Yeah.
Like next week.
Yeah, right?
But so we went through, there was a stage where there were 2 very young together. The girls are not, they are less than 2 years apart. And I just have forgotten how busy.
Right. Yeah, they need everything from you.
Yes.
All the time. And
Yeah.
sometimes they don't even know what they need, but it's not right.
So I was sitting and writing the blog about it this week and realizing I wouldn't have been able to do that if they were my kids were off doing their own thing, and
Right.
I sat by the fire under a blanket and wrote a blog for an hour, and it was uninterrupted. And then those are the things that I'm tapping back into is you just don't get.
No.
Time is not something that you have, and you're in go mode. And it impacts relationships. So we will go in lots of directions, I'm sure, because this is a big topic. So just let us know in the comments which direction you want us to go first.
Mhm.
Mine's
Very scary.
too.
Ear infections. Oh. Ledger had ear infections
Yes.
all the time, I think. Because he had allergies, and so it would always get into his ears. We were always having ear infections.
Yeah.
Which means nobody was sleeping.
Right. So let's cover that. Sleep deprivation is first.
Oh, man.
It's real. It's a real thing.
Yes.
And you have to understand that, when you're in it, I remember you just get through, you just do. I think there was a moment with my 3rd child that I really remembered, are we ever going to sleep again? I had some
Will I
fear.
ever not feel exhausted?
But
I don't know.
it impacts our mood. It impacts
everything. I mean, not having sleep impacts everything.
And so when you're talking about relationships, when you're sleep deprived, they will be impacted. You will have less patience with your person. You will be running in so many directions that there's not a lot of time for each other. And hopefully you will get to a point where you get sleep again. I get sleep. I'm very protective of my sleep. So just understand awareness. Obviously, you can't really do anything about it.
No. No,
Sleep
you know,
when you can.
they always give the tips, like when you have real young ones, like if they're napping, like,
nap.
and I know it's so hard at times to be like, oh, but the dishes need done, or oh, I could do this, or
Mhm.
right, it's really hard to put the to-do list away when the kids finally do sleep, but like that sleep, that rest for you really is so vital
For self-care,
Yes,
just staying.
to help you be able to parent the way you want to parent, and to
Mhm.
be the wife or the husband the way you want to be, right? Like that. I mean, if I don't have sleep, I am
She's not
totally
very
irrational.
nice.
I mean, if Brandon gets on here and he gets to chime in at all, like, I mean, I kind of have this, like, I can't be held responsible for the things that I say when you wake me up in the middle of the night. Like, it's awful.
It's awful. And yeah, like Emily pointed out, sleep deprivation with solo parenting is like, you don't have that, hey, can you just, I'm desperate
Right,
for sleep.
there's no tag team. Okay, I'm gonna
Mhm.
sleep tonight. You get up with the kids tonight, right?
Yeah,
I mean, you
so
don't have
just
that option.
increases. Touched out. Okay, so I actually had this conversation with a couple earlier today, because I remember and maybe you experienced this, there's probably like a researched something to do with touch, because I remember when the kids were really little, like, you know, of course they're all over you when you're holding babies and you're changing babies and the toddlers went up, and there must be a quota in our bodies that at some point it's like,
oh, my skin has been touched too much. I'm done.
Right. And
don't touch me. Don't be near me. Don't breathe on me.
so then you finally get the kids to bed, and yeah, most of our spouses are seeking touch.
Yeah.
And I remember that, like, not another person,
not possibly need to touch my skin.
So Esther Perel, we went to her training last May.
Yeah.
And one of the like aha moments, of the many aha moments, was that we can't be in caregiver brain and like sexual desire brain at the same time. It's actually biologically keeps us safe, because obviously your kids on you and all the touch, it's an intimate time.
Right.
And so you want to be able to separate caregiver from partner, which is great. Love that our bodies do that.
Yeah. We want to love our kids like our kids and not like our partners.
Yeah, it makes complete sense. Except that a lot of couples, I didn't understand this.
No.
So all I knew is that intimacy was going down, as far as like I don't have any motivation, time, desire, but a lot of times there's a lot of guilt, shame, fear that you're broken, fear that intimacy is never coming back, fear, and it's really a stage. It really is something where there must be a touch quota that's being filled. But what you can do is help each other shift from caregiver brain to actual, like, I'm my own person again.
Yeah.
So ideas on that.
Okay, so let's start with the situations, I guess, where we have two partners, right? You have a partner, and as far as like helping to carve out time to allow your partner to quit being a caregiver for a little bit.
Yeah.
Right. To
go take a shower.
To go take a shower without little people pulling the shower curtain down or climbing in or dropping their toys into the bathtub with you. Or like, I can't even tell you, like, getting to grocery shop without little people was so, like, you could stop and, you know, if you get your tea or maybe your Diet Coke or your cup of coffee and you just wander through the aisles and no one's tugging or whining or
like
asking.
Vacation.
It really is. Like, it sounds so silly, but if you can help support your partner in getting some time where they are not having to take care of little people. Right. And sometimes that means don't make that time when they're not taking care of their little people mean that they're then taking care of you or
the other,
right? Like, like there has to be a little bit of just simply recharge time where they can kind of take care of themselves.
Yeah.
And that is, you know, it's not going to reignite things immediately like they were before little people were in the house. But it's amazing how grounding and how centering just a little bit of time, whether it's alone or whatever it is, can really help.
You can find yourself back.
Yeah, you're like, oh, I I am in there. I'm not just like a milk machine and like a snot wiper, right? I mean, like, you can find those things.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I am woman or man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see. Grocery shopping is it is vacation. And on that point too, if you can carve out, and I know it depends on support system, if it's possible to have a night away, once in a great while, even if it's once a year and it's one night, and you only make it down to like Hotel Row in Idaho Falls,
right?
Like it's amazing what that will do to just recharge relationship when you can step out of the constant caregiver role and just be together.
Yeah, I don't want to miss this one.
Oh, yeah,
Amanda had shared, she says, I tell him, don't even look at me, right? When we were talking about kind of like, oh, I'm so sick of being touched. But she adds in there that I make sure to kiss him when he gets home, and I try to make sure that he doesn't miss out. We've talked about this in other videos before, but like making time to still have time for connection is really important. It's really easy to feel like, you're alone in it, and neither one of your emotional needs are oftentimes getting met, because little people are demanding and they're exhausting. They just require so much from everybody, financially, time, energy, everything.
Soul.
Yes, soul.
One of the, I think.
What am I doing wrong?
I'm
really doing it wrong.
Technical difficulties. One of the most memorable fights we had, I remember I think the girls were probably 3-1. I think I was my most stressed about 3-1, 4-2, somewhere. It's all a blur. The important piece was that it got better.
Yes.
A, but B, I remember having this fight with Brad where we were both working, running, household, kids, go. And our middle child, Taylor, she did not sleep through the night until she was in first grade.
I know this story.
Yeah, she just didn't. She still doesn't really need sleep, but now she can read or do whatever she wants.
Self-entertain when she's not sleeping.
I can get my sleep. She was happy. She just wanted to be up and she wanted company. And if you didn't give her company, she'd go like unload a kitchen cupboard. But it was like 2 a.m, and I remember we were both listing out like, so like the reasons we had to be more tired than the other
I'm more
person.
tired than you because I had to do this and this and this.
Exactly.
I've seen 2 a.m. every single night for a month.
2:20,
right,
2:40.
Yeah.
So appreciation. Like you're both, if there's 2 people involved, you're probably both doing more than you can ever do. Like the plate is overflowing. It's always overflowing. You're never going to catch up on the laundry. You're never going to. And it's okay because that's a phase of life. And you really have to appreciate what the other person is doing because it's very easy to get in that like, well, you can't.
Oh, yeah.
There's no way you're as tired as I am.
You couldn't possibly be, right?
I think I opted to sleep on the couch, which is awesome. I'm sure that really helped the whole situation. But I just remember like trying to collect data and win on I've got to be more tired. Again, sleep deprivation. That's really good.
Oh, yeah.
4-2 seems better. Well, maybe it was 3-1 then. I don't remember. Less sleep than men, but we actually need more sleep. I agree that we need more. I sleep. Brandy doesn't sleep, but I certainly sleep. Self-care isn't selfish, right? That took me a while to figure out. Now I think I probably went the other way for a while. Now I'm probably swinging back. But in order to take care of kids and house and dog and cat and all of that,
right?
And then there's work and taking care of people there. You have to take care of you. Yeah, and figuring out ways to do that. Everyone's self-care looks different.
And Susanna shares the, kind of taking the time to remember we were husband and wife, we were partners before we were parents.
Yes.
It's really easy to get consumed by everything child. And, then it's like, oh, we've got these birthday parties and we have to go to mommy and me things here and this and this. And my experience, at least, was there was a lot of guilt driving, like,
guilt.
oh, like, I'm a bad mom if I don't take him to do this, or I don't take him to do
Right.
that, or I don't make cupcakes and all these different things, right? Like, it's so easy to get caught up in those things, but really remember, like, what are those very foundational things that will help make sure that your kids hopefully get to maintain that home life with mom and dad, right?
Right.
If you can, which is going back to those basics of the relationship and,
Mhm.
and making sure that you prioritize getting some of that time together.
Yeah, keeping that foundation strong, because that ultimately is the biggest impact.
Right. Yeah, that's going to be your biggest impact into giving that home and that lifestyle that we want our children to have.
Yeah, I think guilt, you brought up guilt. Guilt is, I swear, when you enter parenthood, they must just put a chip in.
Yeah,
Like,
it's just like,
oh,
it's a direct line from somewhere. I don't know where it comes from.
And it
It's
comes
like you have a
from-
guilt tube.
internal guilt, and then you go, I remember, just being exhausted and having the girls like in Safeway and Salmon and someone, somebody saying like, you just really need to soak this in, or you just really need to enjoy this time. And I'm like, I can't even get out of the grocery store. And so then that layers, well, I should be enjoying
Right,
this.
I should be loving this.
Am I going to regret this and this and this? And then if you're trying to balance work and home,
Mhm.
or if you're home and missing work, like there's just guilt everywhere. We're drowning in it. So being
Let's
able
not.
to not.
What can we do to not, right? Like, how can we combat that? Like, have appreciation for what we are doing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of comes back to, we talk about this a lot, kind of that gratitude list.
Mm-hmm.
When we take the time to really focus our thoughts on, like, what are all the things? Like, I think Amanda shared, like, yeah, there's some things as a parent or as a person that,
Mhm.
like, I'm better at, and there are other things I am not good at.
Right.
And it's easy to get focused on the things that maybe I'm not as good at, but why, right? Like, there is no need to sit there and unnecessarily just beat ourselves up over it. So,
No.
if you catch yourself in those, can you pause and give yourself just,
Yeah.
Mom, you're doing good. Dad, you're doing great.
And it always looks different because we all have different strengths. I mean,
Yeah.
I've never been the mom that made the pretty little lunch, where all the food is like
Perfect. And
cookie cutter
Mhm.
and like peanut butter, go. But I'm sure there's strengths.
Yes.
There's another. So it's being able to realize we all look different. And when we're trying to compare like my not cookie cutter lunch to cookie cutter,
right.
that's not a fair comparison. So we're all bringing things, and our families look different depending on how we structure them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I guess one of the most important things I want to make sure that we share
Mm-hmm.
is it's normal. It's normal to be exhausted.
Yeah.
It's normal to feel like I don't have any idea what I'm doing. It's really normal for you and your partner to start feeling like we aren't as connected.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't want to say it's normal, so just go with it.
Right.
But know that you're not broken. Something's not wrong with you or the relationship that you're feeling this way. Like, there is lots of, I can remember watching a TED Talk. I'll find it and throw it in the link, that shows, like, you bring kids into the relationship and marital satisfaction goes down up first, okay?
Mm-hmm.
It goes down at first, and then it starts to come back up. But during those years where they just require everything from you, and that is just part of that phase. It is just part of that stage. So if you can take anything away from tonight's conversation, it's not that something's wrong with you.
And
it's
it gets better.
Yes.
It does. It really.
The challenges are different, but it does get better.
They're different. But, what was the gratitude list you talked about? Ooh.
Oh, okay, yes. So a few different ways to do it.
Mm-hmm.
The idea is you start to compile somewhere a list of just the things you're grateful for. I talk to some people, and like, if they journal, maybe, every night before they go to bed, they write down one or two things that they're grateful for. I have other people who, like, they have a big, kind of like the butcher block paper, and it's like on the inside of the door wherever they regularly leave from, so that they see it, and like, they just keep adding to that list.
I have people that do post-its around their computer screen if they're at a desktop all day.
Yeah, it's just the idea of really, it's kind of different than if I just think, oh, I'm really grateful that I get to have this cup of tea with my good friend, versus if I jot it down somewhere and like I get to be reminded of it, right? Because it's easy to get drugged down by kind of whatever might be happening or going wrong in the day. But when I can be reminded that, like, you know, yeah, this kind of sucks right now. And like, I've actually got some really cool things in my life. And it usually tends to make whatever speed bumps I'm going over, they aren't quite as intense as maybe they would have if I went, you know, if I stayed in them with a really negative mindset or, and so Susanna, does that kind of answer the idea?
And you can also do that, because that's the internal, like really helping with internal thoughts when we move to gratitude. It can help us move through a lot of different
gratitude is really
emotions.
powerful.
Yes.
It is a superpower in and of itself to kind of combat when we're dealing with guilt and shame and fear and just kind of all of those anger, those feelings. And not that those feelings aren't okay to have from time to time, right? I'm never going to say it's not, you know, you can have those feelings. Right. It's when we kind of sit and really marinate in them.
But then there's the gratitude piece of expressing to each other. Yes. So being able to, a gratitude practice, you can go around the table. You can have a gratitude practice as a couple or as a family where you express it openly, because a lot of times we are very grateful for things happening, but we don't take the time to actually state it.
Oh, yeah.
So whatever.
I'm totally bad at that. Like, I'm really good at being really bad at that. Like, I'll think like, oh, that was really nice. Oh, that was really good. Oh, I really appreciate that. But I don't always get it said. And so, you know, that's something I really have to actively work on. And I want to make sure I example that, because like I can see my little guy is very much so his mom in personality. And it's like, I picked him up from judo last night, and he was telling me there was a new kid at judo, and she's a she, and she's his age, and she's a cute little girl. And they were, you know, working together, and he says, my mind was filled with compliments for her mom.
Aww.
It was so cute.
I love that.
So I just tried to, like, I said, you know, the worst compliment is the one that doesn't get to come out your mouth. And he's like, I have to get to know her first. It was so cute, but it was just a great little opportunity to remember, like, how easy it is to make sure that we're exampling that, like, sharing those.
I set a reminder to my phone to send my husband a text. Oh, I like that. That's great. That's really good. I need to do that.
Yeah, great ideas.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
Perfect. What else on? I think just also, you know, we pick the cute pictures. We hit on this last week, but, you know, the family adventures, I'm not posting, you know, especially from that time, like, when
I'm not posting at 2 a.m. when I'm like, where's my kid? She snuck out again, right? Like, like keep in mind, you know, as we live in this social media world,
that when the diapers are falling off, or the kids puking or screaming, or you're exhausted, or you're fighting, like, no, we find the picture at, you know, Payette Lake that everyone's smiling in, and that's what we post.
Like a good friend of mine, she had the cute picture of all the kids and her, you know, and then like she sends, like, it took like 20 minutes to get the right picture taken, to get it posted. Like, it's not, what we see oftentimes in social media is not real reality, right? It's a little glimpse in, like, this was a fun moment. Let's share that. Yeah. So don't compare your low moments to other people's highlight reels,
and don't assume that people are going on these amazing adventures without the fun parts.
Yes.
Not the fun parts. We're all just trying to focus on, you know, soaking in those little moments are important. You know, just taking the time to really, and they may be a minute. Yeah. And they may be when you're looking at them and they're sleeping. And that's okay. You're soaking in how beautiful they are when they sleep. But not comparing to those images of, like, I don't know who goes. I remember skiing with our kids, and great that they were on the ski hill. And by the time we got them all on the ski hill, I was too tired to ski. Positive social media. Oh, yeah. Oh, cool. Some good groups. Yes, it is the shiny side. I like that.
You know, something else to consider, and I know this can be a real challenge for some folks with little people, is figuring out who are your support systems. You know, who is your backup when I need to tap out for a minute, right? Whether it's grandparents or close friends or, you know, the 15-year-old girl across the street that babysits or, you know, and, you know, kind of figuring out, are there people in my life? Are there people in our lives that could help give us a little break, right?
Yeah.
So that we could have a little date together or a little time out, or I could just go to bed, right?
Sleep.
Like,
And
Yeah.
then the other part is not being too stubborn to ask for help.
right.
So
Yes.
identify, and then I've always dealt with a fair number or a pretty good sense of like, no, I do it myself. I
Right.
must do it myself.
Yeah,
and
no. Think
you
of it as
need-
the self-care,
Yeah.
right? It's not
part of
selfish
care.
and it's not a weakness.
Mm-mm.
It's, you will come back and you will be ready to be, you know, even better parent than before you walked out the door, right? Like, you will get that little time to recharge. And, you know, if you and your partner get to go do those things, that's really,
Yeah, and I know
helpful.
some people live where family is there readily available, and so it makes
Right.
it easier. I work with a lot of clients that maybe are new to the area.
yeah.
And so, you know, finding community at, you know, church or groups, something to try and find and identify those people that could help. It does take, yes, totally agree with that.
Absolutely.
Takes a village.
Trying to think, what other?
Adventures, covered sleep, appreciation.
What are we missing?
Yeah, moms that are out there, or dads that are out there that are in this stage. What are we
Mhm.
missing? Because we forget.
Right, yeah.
I put in the blog that I went to Carrie's house, and she has, well, they're almost 2 and 4, but they were 1 and 3, 0 and 2. I can't remember. Whenever I was there,
They were
I noticed
little.
that the bottom shelves of this antique
We're empty.
grill were empty, and I was sitting on the couch with my mom, and I'm like, I should get her something pretty for those shelves. And my mom laughed. She's like, oh, how quickly you forget. And I'm like, oh yeah, like I can't. And I was looking around my house when I was writing the blog, like, oh, there's plants over here.
Yep, you
Kids would have been
that.
eating
Mhm.
dessert. Like,
Yep.
it's just a shift in every way. Patience. Yes. I think that's what being a parent teaches us.
Yeah, I was going to say, we are helping to teach our kids lots, but do not underestimate what those kids are actually teaching us.
Right.
And you're not going to get it right every
Patience.
time, right? So be kind and be compassionate, because you won't. You're going to yell sometimes. You're going to lay down on the
Right.
floor and have your own tantrum. You're going to be, you know, snarky just because the 3-year-old was snarky to you. Like, it's going to happen.
Mhm.
And you will be able to laugh about it at some point.
You can
So
repair.
be compassionate with yourself.
All right. Well, I think
Well,
we've
I think that was pretty good coverage. And,
little people parenthood.
Yeah.
Don't forget Sun Valley. Anything else? Any other last minute? We'll hang in here for a minute, see if anything else comes in. Love the community.
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Does it feel nice, like, to know that, like, there are other people out there feeling the same way you feel, you know, when they're kind of those more stressful moments, like,
Right.
you know, just remember that you're really not alone. It's normal,
No, some people
and it'll
just
pass.
hide those moments better than
Yes.
others, but we all have them.
All
right.
All right, world. You have a wonderful Tuesday evening, and
Mhm.
I can't wait to figure out what we're going to talk. Oh, where can I get tranquilizers for the kids?
Asking for a friend. I ask a lot of things for friends.
That's a private
It's always
message, that
branding.
answer. All right. I can't wait to figure out what we're going to talk about next week.
Yeah, send us ideas if you
Yeah,
have
if there's
any.
something you'd love us to talk about, please share that with us. And again, if you're teetering at all on the idea of joining us in Sun
Oh.
Valley, jump on
good.
soon. We're not quite sure when the hotel's going to finally give us our deadline, but we're going to take advantage of it until they do. So,
Right.
all right. Thank you so much for being here with us. If you liked what you watched, please share it. Okay.
All right.
All right.
Have a great week.
Bye-bye.